Welcome everyone, my name is Jacob. Thank you for joining me. This is Hunt Detail, and over the past few weeks we've been talking a lot about preparing for your elk hunt. And it started with a hunt objective, it started with mindset. We looked at capabilities, we talked about capabilities. Obviously, the more conservative your mindset and your more conservative your hunt objective and your more conservative your capabilities are, the more conservative your hunt planning is going to be, the more conservative your e-scouting is going to be. And so over the past 2 weeks, we talked about e-scouting and planning. And hopefully over the past few weeks, this has been helpful for you to determine what your objective is. And hopefully you've maybe expanded on your hunt objective and your mindset. And in turn, you've expanded your e-scouting and hunt planning. Today, in the next few weeks, we're going to talk about systems. And systems are the things that really just need to work and operate on their own in sort of an autopilot fashion. And that is your, think of your kill kit. Everything's there. You've got a knife, you've got gloves, you've got, other tools, other things, flagging tape maybe. So that's a system. A system for meat care. Your system for fresh water. You have a water system. Your clothing system. Your, one that comes to mind is, bow repair. What do you have that's with you, I guess, in your vehicle if something goes wrong with your bow? So you need to have these systems in place because every second of every minute is absolutely so precious and so vital for you to maximize when you are 1,500 miles away from home. And so today we're going to get into my water system and my clothing system, and hopefully you'll find that this is helpful to you as you sort of start to take notes or think of things that you want to do or evolve in your own systems. But I wanted to touch on the controversy that's taken place over the past week with Harrison Buckner's comments. He did a commencement speech at a conservative Catholic college, and I'm not going to talk about the controversial components of that. This is not that sort of podcast, but I do want to pull out a sentence that I thought was applicable to this podcast. And he says, "Be unapologetic in your masculinity, fighting against the cultural emasculation of men. Do hard things, never settle for what is easy." And I think, obviously, this is the softest, most comfortable age in human history. I can order food to have it delivered to my house from my phone. I can watch movies or Netflix or golf or fantasy football on my phone, and that's my outlet or my source of a quote-unquote adventure. I go to the store, buy packaged meat. I didn't have to do anything really. I didn't have to kill that animal. I didn't have to butcher that animal, and it only cost me a few dollars. And so there's a lot of, I think it's commendable for you, those of you that are listening, that you do this hunting thing, because it's difficult. It's not easy to get up early, to stay up late, to fight the elements. So it's important that we hold on to this, we fight for this. And I've talked a little bit about that dynamic over the past few podcasts, because there's a lot of bullies out there that want to take this away from us. I do think it's an opportunity as men to sort of reflect on who we are, not in the field, but at home. How are we going against the cultural norms and leading as a man as husbands, as fathers, as members of our community? How are we serving others? How are we servant leaders in our home, where our children, our spouse, our wives are above us in the organizational power chart? How are we demonstrating humility, creating trust, connection, nurturing our relationships with our families? How are we protecting our families from some of these cultural norms? It's an opportunity, and I just want to challenge you to take that time to reflect on where things are going. Are you the spiritual leader in the house? Are you sort of leasing that out, or contracting that out to the school or the church? I mean, when it needs to be you. And I'm guilty of that too. So just to be in full transparency. So I think it's a good opportunity to reflect. I know we all like to think a lot about this hunting thing. I certainly do. But we have to think about our responsibilities as men to our families and to our communities, and to not be sucked into some of the cultural norms in that regard. So enough about that. But let's talk about my clothing system and my water system. And so I'll start with my water system. This is an area that I think sometimes gets a little overlooked. We sort of like, I'll have a bunch of bottled water in my vehicle, or I'll take a steri pen or that sort of thing, and so I tend to over plan for the water part, because I think that it can be such a limiting factor that it could really ruin. It can shrink the areas with which you hunt if you don't have a tight water system. So for me, I do have a steri pen. I do have aqua tablets, and I really like. I've added. I've had a gravity water filter system, and I really like some of the new water bottles that have a water filter built into them. So I'm looking at right now some of my gear, and I have a Hydro Pack that I think it's 1 liter that has a water filter built into. It's a soft-sided water bottle, so I can literally just dunk it in a creek, put the lid back on, and start drinking. I've got one from Life Straw that's the same. This is more like a Nalgene bottle, it's hard in that way. And that is also, I think, 1 liter, maybe 1.5. And it's something I can just dunk in a creek, take the water, put the lid on, and I got fresh water. From a gravity water system, I have used I believe they're 6 liter bags from Hydro Pack. They have a spigot. They have these well-designed lids. They have sort of molly looping on the sides. They have a strap on the top, and they feel like they're a little bit quote-unquote bomb-proof. They're really well built. They're not something that's going to puncture easily, and you can load up water in those. And I've created sort of a gravity water system out of these 6 liter bags. Now you need about 5 liters of water a day. Somewhere I would say close to 4 or 5 liters of water a day. And so it's a chore in many ways that cannot get skipped, because if you are several miles from the truck, you have to find a way to get water, hook it up to, hang it from a tree, let it do its gravity filtration while you are hunting, hiking, moving, and then when you come back, you have fresh water for that night's dinner, and then fresh water for the next morning. But you have to stay on top of it, because if you don't and you get behind, then it cuts into a morning hunt or an evening hunt, because you're like, crud, I don't have any water. And so you really have to think about, and even when you're e-scouting, you need to think about, where are these potential water sources? Where am I going to get fresh water? Because I don't think that is emphasized enough. Now I use the steri pen sometimes to also clean the water, but essentially the steri pen neuters all of the bacteria that's in the water. So it's not allowed to, it's still in there, it's still living, it just doesn't reproduce in your stomach. So like the Giardia, for example, it doesn't reproduce in your stomach, it passes through, and that's, if it were able to reproduce, that's where you have real problems. So I've recently purchased it's a little bit larger of a system. It might even be too large, but it's from LifeStraw. It's an 8-liter gravity system, and I liked it because it seems to be they have a lot of straps, and it seems to be designed specifically for, it's well designed, gravity water filtration. You've got a strap that connects the clean and the dirty water bags. You've got straps on top of each bag. You've got hoses. It just seems like it's really well designed. The system that I've made out of the Hydro Packs is one that I've sort of created, and so if you're not in a right situation, the filtration device is connected to a hose that connects to the two, and it could get stretched and come undone, and it could create problems. Whereas this one is not going to. Now it's not cheap. It's about $130, but I think this will be a long-term solution for me. I don't love 8-liter bags. It just seems a little too much, but I'm going to give it a try. And all of this stuff that I'm talking about, the water bottles, the filtration devices, SteriPen, all that stuff, I have these gear lists on, if you go to the Hunt Detail Instagram profile, if you click on the link tree in that, you can see like hunting gear list, and you'll be able to see, I have lists for a lot of different things. I mean, kill kits, water systems, turkey hunting, western hunting, mobile whitetail hunting. I have it all there, and it can maybe help you, see exactly what I'm referring to. And all I ask is just, give Hunt Detail a follow on Instagram. That would be much appreciated. But that's sort of my water system. And again, you have to think about, where am I going to get water? I want to get close to 5 liters every day. And if it's not coming from your truck, if it's coming from, some random creek or stream or whatever, then you have to, you want to have that outlined on your map, because it could, shorten your hunt, shorten your time in the field, and force you to go back to your vehicle or force you to go somewhere. So you want to have, in my opinion, options. And that's, carrying a SteriPen isn't a bad idea. It's super lightweight. Having aqua tabs just in case that SteriPen goes bad, or if you have a filter freeze up or break or something. But I like to have a lot of options because I don't want to be without. I do have a Hydro Pack water bladder with a hose, but again, I also have water bottles. So I'm going to switch now from sort of the water system and talk about my clothing system. And I have it all out in front of me, so if you hear some background noises, that's because I'm moving some things around. I wanted to make sure that I covered this extensively. Otherwise, it would be, shirt, pants, boots, and that would be sort of all you get. So I'll start with the bottom. I do have a pair of crispy Laponias. I like those a lot because they fit really well. They fit my feet super well. They're sort of almost snug to my feet. I put a Super Feet insole. I did a thing on the Hunt Detail YouTube channel looking at Super Feet versus sheep feet, and the Super Feet work really, really well. You want something that's hard. You don't want something that's squishy. And so Super Feet work really, really well. I put that in. I take out the crispy insole. If you take a look at a crispy insole, or really any insole in a boot, it's almost like a paper towel. It's sort of ridiculous. The tread on the Laponias is not very deep, And so if you may be in situations where you want to add something, I have these little snow tracks spikes that you can put on, and they can help you grip a little bit better if you're in a situation where you're going to be, where it might be raining, or just doing a lot of hiking. You want something to really grip. I would recommend putting those on. And again, all of this is on on my gear list. On my feet, I do wear a thin merino wool. I'm trying to think of the brand here, but it's a very sock liner. It's a very thin merino sock liner, and I'll wear that, and then over that I'll wear a pair of just sort of lightweight merino socks, like darn tough, like a boot cut, darn tough. And what I found with the sock liner is that it helps with reduce friction on my foot. That foot line, that sock liner or whatever, seems to, I think, get some of the friction that might normally be on my feet. Certainly don't have to wear that, and I also pre-tape my feet. I pre-tape it for those blister hotspot areas. I wear a small, I guess it's just over the edge of the boot, gaiter, and the pair that I have are from First Light. They're okay. I think any gaiter is going to be fine, but you've seen the over the calf gaiter, and to me it just seems a little hot in a September archery elk hunt. And so I like something that's a little, it's shorter. It goes just above the ankle, and it keeps out the rocks and the debris out of my boot. It keeps my boots tied, and it's just nice. It's just nice to have, once my boots are on, I'm not fiddling or worrying about anything, untying or just crud getting in them. I did a video, I think last year, on silk versus merino versus polyester gloves. This is on the Hunt Detail YouTube channel. And I found that I have a couple pairs of merino gloves, a pair of Sitka, a pair of Black Ovis, and then I had a pair of running gloves that were polyester from Nike. And what I found is that these Nike running gloves actually kept my hands warmer. And so a lot of people talk about merino, and we love merino this, merino that, and I will be talking a lot about merino base layers and whatnot, but I think for my gloves, for my hands, I think a pair of polyester gloves, like I would look at like running gloves as an option from that runners wear when they're running in cold temperatures. I used to run a lot for different mini marathons and that sort of thing. And so I do have merino gloves, but I would almost encourage you to check out some polyester gloves. Your hands don't really sweat that much. I think merino's great if you sweat a lot and you don't want to stink. Like I do wear a merino underwear that's sort of like a boxer brief, and the idea there is I know that that's not going to stink after 10 days of wearing it. I wear a merino. In the merino briefs, I think I got from First Light, but you can get them from a lot of different places. You can even get an Amazon brand if you wanted to. I do have a Kuiu merino wool 145 hooded quarter zip as sort of my primary layer, because in September it might be in the 30s in the morning and it be in the 70s or 60s in the afternoon, and that alone seems to work really well. I do have a Kuiu puffy, it's a medium puffy. I can't quite remember the name of it, but it is very soft and incredibly quiet, and it has zipped heat dump zippers on the armpits, and I really like this. I've hunted out of this thing for years. I did do a review on puffy jackets on the Hunt Detail YouTube channel, and one of the puffies that I evaluated was this, and it went against an Eddie Bauer puffy jacket that I had gotten for $50, and the Eddie Bauer did as well as everything else, every other hunting brand, if not better, and essentially won that evaluation. And so, I don't think you have to spend a lot on early season archery puffy jackets. You can get something from Eddie Bauer or Columbia or North Face for pretty inexpensive, and it'll be just fine. It might have a little bit more noise than some of the other items that are out there. And that's one of the reasons why I continue to wear the Kuiu jacket, because it is so quiet. It's not as water resistant as some of the other options, but it's a really nice, it's quiet, it's a good piece. I wear a simple ball cap that is sort of one of those, I guess, quick snap. It's sort of a stretchy camo ball cap. Nothing spectacular. It's just comfortable. And then if it's cold out, I'll throw a simple toboggan over the top of that. And it's, I've got a polyester toboggan that's sort of brown that I'll throw on that. Like I said, I feel like polyester is a pretty solid fabric in terms of retaining heat. I have another one that's acrylic in nature, or you can go with a merino. From a rain jacket standpoint, or rain gear, I don't really invest a lot in rain gear, especially during early archery elk September. I have a simple Eddie Bauer jacket that I got for $50 that has heat dump zips on the under the arms. It also has lots of different pockets. It's very thin and lightweight, and I'm only using that if I'm stuck in a rainstorm. If it's raining, I'm just not going to be really hunting if it's raining a lot, because even if I did get a shot at something, there would be no blood trail. It would be a really bad situation. So if it's raining lightly, I might throw that on, or if I'm stuck in a heavy rainstorm, I would throw that on. I'm not bringing rain pants. So I also have like an old Under Armour rain jacket that I bought years ago for $13, and I've used it. I've hunted out of that thing. It's sort of green, a dark forest green, and so I don't think you have to spend a lot of money. It doesn't have to be real fancy there. Again, I don't think you're really gonna be hunting in the rain. From a pant standpoint, I have a pair of Wranglers from Walmart that I think they're called just the hiking pant or something, but they are of a stretch material. They are 96% nylon and 4% spandex, and they have 2 cargo pockets on the front and 2 pockets on the back. I used to hunt with the Prana Stretch Zion pant, and it was, $60. These were like $25 from Walmart. They stretch. They're durable. They're very inexpensive. I like the pocket configuration, because I'll see some of these pants out there and they don't have multiple pockets, multiples upon multiples, and I need 2 cargo pockets. I need 2 pockets in the back. And what I would like, if I could change these a little bit, I would love for these to have heat dump zips on the side, and maybe a spot for knee pads or light knee pads. Not heavy knee pads, but they're incredibly lightweight, and they're really good, and I've worn them on a couple different trips, and I use them even just during regular whitetail season. They're a solid color brown, and again, if I was going to splurge, I might look at some of the Stone Glacier pants. I don't like what's out there from Sitka or First Light or Kuiu when it comes to a lightweight September elk pant. Some of them have quarter zips, but they're netted. and I don't like that. I want the zip to open up all the way and have my leg exposed so I could really dump some heat. From a belt standpoint, I have a cloth belt that is sort of a Amazon special that cinches down. I don't want a leather belt. Leather belt's going to cut into you. So I've got a cloth belt for my waist. And then if it were to get cold and I felt like I needed something to keep me warm, I do have some these 3/4 length, I guess merino long underwear, for lack of a better term, that are you can zip off or you can zip down. They have zips on each outside of the leg, and you can take those things off without even taking your pants off because they're velcroed together on each side. And I don't think, I'm not really wearing these, but I might have them in the vehicle just in case. And then if it were to get colder and I wanted a thicker pant, I do have the First Light Foundry corrugate pant, which is really one of my favorite pants. It has knee pads, it has waterproof butt area, it has cargo pockets that are two layers, it has zips for heat dump down the sides. But I'm only wearing those if it gets really cold, or if I feel like I need something that's because they're much heavier than the Wrangler pant. So those are some of the highlights of my system in terms of water and clothing. I hope that you find this helpful. Again, I have a gear list on the Hunt Detail Linktree profile. Linktree. If you go to Hunt Detail Instagram, you click on the Linktree, you can pull down the whole gear list. You can go to Hunting Gear and you can see the links to a lot of this gear. And hopefully this is helpful. Please like, share, subscribe. Appreciate your all's time today. And we'll talk more about systems next week. We'll get into maybe food systems, electronics, maybe meat, kill kit. I'm not quite sure right now, but we'll definitely dive into some of those other systems. Thanks again. Bye.